Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to be talking about season 4 of the show Stranger Things. Fun fact, season 4 took 2 years to film, which is longer than any other season of the show. This season came out in 2022 and stars Millie Bobby Brown, David Harbour, and Winona Ryder, and was created by the Duffer brothers. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Season 4 of Stranger Things sees Hopper trapped in Russia, Eleven trying to adapt to a normal life, weird deaths happening in Hawkins, and a big new villain coming to the light. As the season progresses, we come to find out that all the problems are caused by the mysterious Vecna, and everyone will need to work together to stop him. Stranger Things is a supernatural adventure show. It has similar vibes to Dark, The Umbrella Academy, and I'm Not Okay with This. I forgot how well the Stranger Things cast does on this show, but I was quickly reminded. We see some amazing performances from the returning cast members, but also some standout performances from newcomers like Joseph Quinn, Jamie Campbell Bower, and Eduardo Franco. The writing of the season was pretty good, and they found ways to make the season darker than before and kept you on the edge of your seat. This is season 4 of this show, and they still found a way to introduce new things, but also tie all of the seasons together. They have a pretty large cast, but with all the different storylines, they gave each character a chance to shine and have their stories develop more. It was cool also how the poster for this season hinted that there would be 4 distinct storylines, but how they would all be heading towards a common enemy. Robin and Steve has such a great friendship, and I love to see how he supports her, considering being an out lesbian in the 80s isn't something that was very popular. I love seeing how they not only support each other, but they also understand each other's complicated love lives in this season, and how, what they both currently want in a relationship is kind of out of reach. I love that Hopper is alive, and in the show, explored how Russia is also looking into these weird occurrences and trying to figure out these creatures. It was so sweet to see him reunited with Joyce and later with Elle. I'm glad that he held his own this season and made it back to America. One thing I think that they forgot about was him breaking his leg in the beginning of the season, because by the time he got to Joyce, he was walking fine, but this also could just mean that his leg had healed by the time that they were reunited. But it was just something that I noticed, but I don't know, what the timeline actually was between those two events. But it's just something that, I don't know if they forgot about it or it was just because it had been so long. I was so happy that not only did Joyce and Hopper reunite, but more importantly, Elle and Hopper. We've seen in the past season how much they have played an important part in each other's lives, and I was happy to see them together getting ready for this final battle that's going to take place in the next season. I think that Erica steals every scene that she's in, and she might be young, but she is not to be messed with. I'm so happy that she has been given a bigger role this season. Lucas at first was really getting on my nerves this season, but he quickly changed and made me realize how much I enjoy his character. Caleb McLaughlin gave an amazing performance in the finale when he was dealing with the potential death of Max and really made me emotional watching that scene. I just loved his relationship with Max and how much he cared for her. Sadie Sink was giving some great performances throughout the entirety of this season. She's dealing with not understanding her feelings around the Billy situation, and Vecna targets her, and we get some great emotional scenes that not only show sadness, but also show signs of depression, and Sadie Sink portrayed that perfectly. Also, her scene when, running up that hill is playing and she's running for her life is just now an iconic moment of this season. I feel like Will is so underrated on this show, and it's often sad to see other characters don't really see him and the pain that he's carrying. In Volume 2, he says this whole speech to Mike about what Elle would be saying if she were there, but in reality, you can tell that the words that he's saying is coming from himself. Noah Schnapp does a great job of showing these emotions on his face, so you know what he's thinking without having to say anything. It was sad when Mike told Elle that his life began when he met her while Will was in the room. Because if you remember back to season one, the day that he met Elle was the day that Will went missing, which I think further proves how Will just is like a part of this friend group, but he's often just kind of left as like an afterthought. I feel like Millie Bobby Brown was perfectly casted as Elle in this show. Through flashbacks, we see more of her life with Papa, and we see her journey to get her powers back. Millie's performance just stands out as the one, with powers on this show, and the one that has to do the heavy lifting, while also missing her friends and father figure. It was great to see her facing her past trauma and coming, out stronger than before. If there's one thing that Nancy is going to do, it's going to grab a gun and get to work. I know everyone loves Steve for being the one that is brave, but honestly, give Nancy a gun and she can handle anything. I love how she is such a strong female character in this show, amongst other strong female characters, and still stands out, and is not going to let any creature or person get in the way of her fighting for what she cares about. Nancy is just such a badass. I also hope we get to see more scenes with her and Robin because I really enjoyed their friendship that they, had this season. Also, Barb comes up in every season, and if that's not iconic, I don't know what is. Argyle was such a welcome addition this season. Argyle gets high with Jonathan and offers some great comic relief. Eduardo Franco fit perfectly with the cast, and I felt that he truly embodied how someone would react to all of this stuff going on, having no prior experience with it. His pizza truck in the show also kind of reminded me of the Pizza Planet truck from Toy Story. Eddie Munson quickly became my favorite character this season. He was such a likable character, and because he liked different things, was often misunderstood and blamed for things that he didn't do. He was a big brother figure to Dustin this season, and they had such a great relationship. There's a scene of him playing Master of Puppets by Metallica, and it's such an iconic scene and really highlighted his talent. He spent most of the season running away from his problems, but honestly, what would you do if a town full of hicks was after you? I, was really sad that he died in the end, and I think it hurt even more because he died protecting a city that didn't even love him. I always love how Dustin is a guy who does whatever he can to support his friends and is always down for an adventure. I like his character because I feel like with his nerdiness, he's always, the person that offers a different perspective on the situation that they are in. Gaten Matarazzo gave a great performance in the last episode when he finds out that Eddie was fatally injured by the demon bats and really shows how much Dustin cared for him. I was happy that Dustin told Eddie's uncle that he died so that his family had some type of closure, but also reminded him that Eddie wasn't the villain that the town made him out to be and that he was a hero who tried to make sure that this town survived and was disrespected by the townspeople. Vecna is like the main baddie this season, but we get some side villain, or side hoes is what I like to call them. First, we meet Angela, who is a girl who bullies Elle and completely humiliates Elle in front of Mike. Elle ends up taking a skate to her face, and let me just say, Angela got everything that she deserved. Then we have Jason, who is just as much as an awful person and rallies the town people to go on the hunt for the Hellfire Club members because he says that they're this satanic cult, even though he sees his friend get killed and he knows that it's not their fault, but he's just really sad and upset that his girlfriend died, which is acceptable, but he's like blaming it on Eddie because she was hanging out with Eddie when she died. I was so happy that he died in the end, but I was upset that he is part of the reason why Max is in the state that she is in by the end of the season. There was a scene when Will, Jonathan, and Mike were in LA and the military comes and there's this crazy shootout. The scene stood out for me in a show that has so much supernatural stuff going on. We see this crazy shootout as the government is looking for Elle because they think she is the reason all this stuff is going down. It was such a stressful scene, but also a scene that felt the most grounded in reality and had you uncertain if they were going to make it out alive. One thing I always love about Stranger Things is not only the 80s references, but also how they also include someone who was popular in the 80s. In season one, we obviously have Winona Ryder, who is still a mainstay in this season. In season two, we have Sean Astin, who played the lovable Bob. In season three, we got Carrie Ills. And in this season, we see Mr. Freddy Krueger himself, Robert England. It is always a pleasant surprise to see what Easter eggs they will have to tie back to the 80s. Whoever thought of adding Running Up That Hill by Kate Bush this season deserves a raise. The song has seen a resurgence because of the show, and it just felt right being in the show and the trailer. We get two versions of the song, the original version, and then we also get a version of the song that's mixed with like the Stranger Things theme song. Both of them were included in some great scenes with Vecna and really complemented the scenes nicely. Even though with all the long episodes you would think this is the last season, it's actually not. This season didn't see the heroes win, and it's really setting up for a final showdown. I'm really interested in how they will handle the conclusion and if they will find a way to destroy the Upside Down or sever the connection with the real world. My favorite part of this season was Vecna. He was such a formidable villain, and he had me worried for all the characters' fates. I love how we find out about his history and how he's connected to Elle and how his real name is Henry and he was number one and was abused by the facility with Papa, and Elle helped him remove his inhibitor chip, and she thought that they were just going to escape and he kills everyone. Elle stops him, but after that, she can't remember what happened, but her stopping him opens up a door to the Upside Down and she inadvertently creates Vecna. Jamie Campbell Bower gave a very creepy but great performance as Vecna and truly embodied the craziness. It was interesting to learn that the Mind Flayer is also of his creation and is modeled after a spider due to his obsession with them when he was younger. I really thought it was cool how this all tied back to season one and how basically he's been pulling the strings from afar, but this season he steps out of the shadow and we see his plan coming to life. Season 4 of Stranger Things will have you on the edge of your seat, waiting to see what they have cooked up for the rest of the season. The show has a very large cast, but I think it gives each character enough time to shine and grow while also showing how all of these seasons are connected. If you haven't seen season 4 of Stranger Things, then I suggest that you watch it. Thank you for watching my video. I would love to hear your thoughts down below in the comments. If you have not subscribed, please do so you can keep up to date with more of my videos. But besides that, everyone stay safe, have fun, and goodbye.